thing's heavy as hell, and not a particularly long runway, and it doesn't have afterburner, so we are kind of doing a short field takeoff here. This thing actually has the TF-34s, which I believe are the same engines, or the military variant of the same engines that the CRJs use. There we go, airspeed's alive. Temperatures, pressures, RPMs green. Start rotating. Tap the brakes. And gear. Get the flaps and start turning north here. The first thing I want to do, there's a stop here for the helicopter we're going to have to use to pick up some soldiers to take to Copoletti. And I know there's a BMP around there somewhere, which could be an issue for us. So basically all I'm going to do is clear a path for the helicopters to go in and drop off the guys at the airports to take them over. Which then if we were playing in multiplayer would open up the other spawn points for other players in the team. So master arm safe means the Mavericks are lined up. We gotta turn the master arm on. And set the sensor of interest over to the Mavericks page. Turn off the anti-collisions too. Don't need those. We're on a combat mission. So right there at 11 o'clock, that city, just north of that road along the beach is being patrolled by a BMP. And we have to land just beyond it to the east. There's an X-shaped pair of runways right there you can just barely see. So we can go blow that guy up. Hopefully we can find him pretty easy and I can get him with one of these Mavericks. Glitch Gaming, long time no see, man. How you doing? I want to line up with this road. Put the autopilot on, give us some time to find this little fella down here. Like the autopilot engage button sounds like something you'd hear on Windows. Alright, let's look for this guy. That may actually be him right there. I'm gonna say yes. We'll see. Can I lock him? Yeah, it's gotta be him. Can't tell if I'm locking him or a lamppost. That's him.
Warning, autopilot.
time is it for you? It's getting early evening there, I'm guessing, somewhere thereabouts. If that doesn't hit him, I'm gonna give him a gun run. Hey, we got him, BMP2. Next, head to Cabaletti. Same thing. So this one, the first one of these base capture things that I made were actually pretty difficult, and they're made for 2-3 pilots that kind of know what they're doing, and I redid it for a couple other guys that I fly with who just kind of like flying around airplanes but aren't super serious about any weapon systems. So this one is only AAA and tanks, so it's not particularly difficult. Alright, there's the airbase. And I think that's our first target right there. It's a ZSU-23. And I think we got him already. See ya! And there should be a BMP and a truck down here. There's the BMP. Oh yeah, bud. See ya! That was easy. There's also a convoy of logistics trucks somewhere in this area that we need to destroy.
Warning, autopilot.
I'm gonna get down here and see if we can find these fellas. Let's do this as well. Arm this pack. So the deal is if this convoy gets to a certain place on the map, they're going to establish an SA-11 site, which would be kind of problematic for us because they don't have any sort of seed weapons. I want to see if I can find them. There they are. That was easy. I'm actually going to come back around and line up so we can get a good solid gun run on them. On a nice straight part of road too. couple of them got away. That was pretty easy. 3
Altitude,
more?
altitude.
Nice. Apparently the shells for the GAU 8 are 4 pounds each, so with a full load, it's 1,100 rounds, it's over 4,000 pounds. So it doesn't eject the shells, it actually keeps them inside for ballast. Later, man. Have a good day. Good to talk to you. I lost the other ones. Where'd they go?
Altitude, altitude.
Might be it, unless they're in the tree lines. I don't see any more down there. If they are, we'll let them live. And we'll head to waypoint 2. Those are all the buildings that are like bunkers at the airport. So there should be a T-72 over on the east side, and I think another ZSU-23 on the east, as well as a BMP. So we're gonna have to switch to rockets. I got 2 more Mavericks. I think 2 more Mavericks left. Alright, here we go. Now I can see some stuff. I'm pretty sure this is our guy. Lock up, baby. There we go. Wait till we're in 7 miles. See ya. And where's your friend at? I think that is him. Oh, there's the BMP. He is here. Actually, let's take out the BMP with this guy. I'll do a gun runner on that fella. Alright, we're out of Mavericks. Actually, let's switch to some rockets. There we go. This might be a bad idea. This guy could probably get us. I'm not going to stay on target here too long. Oh, we got him. Nice. So there may be a couple infantry guys down there, but the door gunners and the helicopters can usually mop those up. I'm not worried about them. I'm just worried about armor and stuff. I also think there's another one in this field over here. If I remember correctly. Oh yeah, he's shooting at me.
Pull up! Pull up!
Oh, he's still going. Alright, bud. Let's give me all what's for. Get pack arm on. So that pack button helps to control the airplane when you start pulling the trigger. You get like a little bit of initial recoil, it pushes the nose up, but it'll control it to keep it down or on target, so it's pretty precise. I think he's by that middle tree. Problem is you can't use air brakes with the pack system on, or it doesn't work. I think that's him. I got him. See ya, bud. And there's one more guy that I want to try to find, and we're going to jump into a helicopter. There's another armor thing that's patrolling east to west between here and Kabuleti, near that city right there. So we're going to fly over there and see if we can find him on the road. And if not, I'm going to jump into the helicopter and we'll get moving soldiers around. And we'll leave the guns out too. We'll use that guy. So right where the gun pipper is pointed right now, there's a road that goes back and forth from left to right. And I know that there is one piece of armor that's patrolling back and forth through there, which might be a problem for our helicopter. If I can't find him, I'm just going to go back to Batumi land and we'll jump into the MI-8. Kind of like needles in a haystack out here. And that might actually be him right there. You can see the shadow. I think that is. That would be an easy find. If it's not him and it's just a civilian, might get charged with some war crimes here, but where you go? I'm pretty sure that's him. Hell yeah. Perfect lead too. Look at that, boys. See ya. Alright, we can go back to Batumi. What I'm going to do is, I know there's a couple infantry guys that are on the southwest part of Kabuleti, so I'm going to go drop some bombs over there just to lighten us up a little bit, and then we'll go back to Batumi land and I'll jump into a helicopter. CCIP, Mark 82s. Alright, so just left of that smoke on the far end of the runway, there's a little ramp where there's a couple BTRs, and I'm pretty sure there's some infantry down there. So I'm going to drop these Mark 83s or 82s there, and then back to Batumi, so another 20 miles.
Pull up, pull up.
Got him. And got the infantry. So Kabuleti should be an easy one. Just got to go pick up those guys right there on that airfield and then drop them off at Kabuleti and then go on to Sanaki, I think. So we'll go ahead and land this guy and switch to the MI-8. some point I want to try an ILS in here. I think you get the actual vertical and lateral cues on the attitude indicator there. And it looks pretty easy. There's an ILS radio receiver right there. But I don't think that there is a procedure here. I guess it would be kind of hard to do a go-around in IMC at Batumi down here. Miles. So we don't have to fly all the way from Batumi to Kabuleti in a helicopter. I think I put a spawn point up here somewhere. It's like halfway between. These things are crazy too. They're called decelerons. Look at that. And apparently they just land with them out so that the engines kind of stay spooled up, so if they have to do go around, the RPMs and power are already there, and then they just pull those out and the drag goes away. So that's what we were going to do. I'm a little high though. Still high, gonna dive and drive it, no big deal.
Altitude, altitude.
Here we go, there's a red light. Keep them coming. And apparently these guys, they don't flare either, which feels pretty weird in an Air Force jet. Get the flaps up, start braking. Steering. Alright, taxi off the runway and I'm going to jump into the Mi-8 and we'll do a little logistics action. go, past the hold shorts. That's good enough for me. I'm not even going to shut it down. I'm going to select rolls, choose slot. This guy just starting from the ground, MI8. This thing has some switches, boys. Would also be a pain in the ass without track IR. So we can get battery, standby gens. Look at all these circuit breakers. APU. Here we go, buddy. Rotor brake. So that's supposed to run for 1 minute before you can start the engines, but I think you can start them anyway. We have a forward operating base, which I'm gonna have to find to pick up some guys. So what I'm gonna do, go to other CTLD. This is some scripting stuff that I've been working for with multiplayer. And you can pick up AA crates. You can build and deploy surface-to-air missiles for defense. You can spawn ground units, even JTACs. And I've also got a script so that if someone's shot down, they eject, and it creates a CSAR mission for the helicopter pilots. And until that person is rescued for 20 minutes, the slot that they were using is unusable. So you either rescue them, or you have to wait 20 minutes to be able to use that aircraft again. I'm going to go to radio beacons, list our beacons. Waypoint 1 is where the fob is. I can find our first spot. This one's going to be a bit harder. So waypoint 1, 480 kilohertz. Come over here to the ARC 9 and select 480. Set this to compass mode. See, we're getting a signal there, and now the ADF needles are alive and pointing towards the FOB. But also say good enough on the APU start. Close the blister window and get this guy going. You're supposed to start the downwind engine first, but I think winds are roughly from the north, so I don't think it's going to matter for us. We'll do right engine first, start, and crank it. Engine RPM's live. Go ahead and introduce fuel. This helicopter is spectacularly ugly too. Like, it's so ugly that I think it's beautiful. It looks like a loaf of bread. It's also a little bit different. I'm so used to flying American helicopters, and in particular the Huey, which the rotors spin the other way, so torque is acting on the helicopter the opposite way. So in the Huey, when you lift off, you have to give it left anti-torque pedal, and in this it's the opposite. You require right anti-torque pedal to take off. So engine RPM stabilize at about 70, a little bit over 70. Let's go ahead and start engine number 1. This also has a lot of quirks about it too. So one of the things, obviously you don't need these fans, but the fans only work when the generators are generating electricity. So let me double check that I've got our rectifiers are basically inverters. You can see the gen lights are still off. It means they're off. They're red, so it means they're not working yet. My anti-collision light too. So once the RPMs, the rotor RPMs are above, I think 85, the generators kick on, and then you can use the stability augmentation system, and the fans will come on. So I leave those on so you get an indication if the engine or the rotor RPMs are dropping too low, the fans will turn off. So I'm going to turn this one on too. Fan, attitude indicator, compass system comms, Doppler radar, and 5B, VHF. Countermeasures, set this to compass mode. And fuel total. 2 good engine starts. This also has condition levers too for each engine, so if you wanted to do, if you were really heavy with cargo or something, you could actually set these condition levers to high, which will give you more power, but then it resets the generator, or the governor. So like the Huey, it has a governor. Once you get to 100% on the power, governor kicks in just a second. And right there, about 85% on the rotor RPMs, and you can see the fans came on, and the generator lights back there are off, so now they're working. And we can turn on our stability augmentation system. And Set this to neutral, turn you off, AP off, and we're pretty much good to go. Audio warning. Same thing with the Huey, back into the left for collective. For the MI8, it's back into the right, so about right there. Start bringing in collective. I think I called that a collective, that's a cyclic. See ya. Doing acceleration out of ground effect. Relight. And head that way. Bye. This helicopter also a lot more difficult to fly than the Huey. The Huey, you can really push that thing pretty easily, and that's when you kind of got to plan ahead because it's so heavy. It's really easy to get into vortex spring state, but I kind of like that kind of stuff. That click 2 is the force trim, so if you hear that, it means I'm trimming something. Center door gunners return fire. It's also a peculiar setup for the guns as well. Man, that is ugly. There's a 50 cal on the front door and 7.62 on the back and rear. Like I said, it's so ugly, it's pretty. Alright, keep heading this way. Once we get close enough, they're going to pop green smoke so we can see where we need to land. It's also quite a bit faster than the Huey. Liveries where the turbine air inlet covers are. Those things are painted like eyes. It does look like a face. Also, if you look, you see these pods on the side. Fuel tanks. The one on the right side is a lot longer. Because rather than using bleed air for heater like most aircraft do, they have like a whole kerosene heater. Right over here with this thing. So it has its own kerosene tank, which is kind of absurd. Russians. Alright, there's our smoke. That's where we're going. And this is where I took out that BMP earlier. This is why I was kind of clearing a hole for us, because he might have been a problem when we were trying to land. And this thing takes a while to slow down, so I'm going to go ahead and start dropping the collective. Reset the trim. We're going to fly right over it, and I'm going to do a J-turn, and hopefully it'll help us bleed off the speed to stop. So I have a friend who's a real helicopter pilot, and he told me, as far as I can remember, he said something that basically the biggest thing that's going to get you into danger with vortex spring state is a high rate of descent. So as long as we can keep it below 5 meters per second, that seems to do a pretty good job of keeping it out of VRS. There's the boys. the easiest way that I can find to like totally bleed off speed real fast. Drop the collective because you gain a bunch of altitude when you do this. And then as soon as you get that shutter where you're coming out of ETL, start bringing in the collective again. Oh, lost the generators. No! I VRS'd. Complete noob move. Alright, I gotta do that again. I gotta redeem myself. Can I select it again? Nope. Take two. Let's see how fast I can do this. That's actually the first time I've crashed from VRS. Just happened to do it on stream. You're welcome. Now I'm going to be even more aggressive. Possibly do that again. Go. Fast start. Take two. See ya. If I do it again, I quit. I forgot to turn on the stability augmentation system. Smoke's dead, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in this general vicinity. So you can see what I was talking about when the RPMs drop when you get into VRS like that. Both of the fans stop, and then of course that audio warning. This little guy starts bitching at you. And the only way to get out of that, I mean, obviously your power's not going to save you, is to give full cyclic either forward or back, depending on what altitude you're at. But I mean, at that altitude, good luck saving it. It's much easier to do that in this helicopter than it is the Huey. Let's hope this landing goes a little bit better than the last one. I've also started making this campaign. I've been flying with my flight instructor as well as another instructor that I fly with from time to time. He's actually a helicopter pilot, or he was a commercial helicopter pilot before he started flying airplanes. And I've been building this campaign to play with them. And the first mission, we got to fly out to an oil rig to pick up some guys. Can't be landing like that. Here we go. Slow it down a little bit more aggressively before we get there. Our carcass isn't still there, but I think there's some pieces of us. Alright, there's 150 kilometers an hour. We should be good enough to try this J-turn again. Fingers crossed. Okay, ni hao. Oreman. 안녕하세요. That little shake, that means we're out of ETL, so pretty much this is all just brute force from the rotors now. So as long as I can keep it below 500 feet or 5 meters per second descent, I should not have a problem. Move forward a little bit. Oh boys. Let's have the altitude warning really low, so you know when you're getting close to the ground, you know, to keep a little bit of power in. That'll do. Alright, load these guys, go to F10, CTLD, troop transport, load to standard group. You can choose if you want anti-air group, which will spawn you with some guys with man pads or stingers, or anti-tank, which adds a bunch of guys with RPGs, or you can load a mortar squad. So you can take all of those and you can set it up near a base, and you can use it to launch an attack on the base, which is really cool. So we're just going to take a standard group because I'm pretty sure that we wiped out all of the defense there. So we got new call sign, loaded troops into MI8 MT, so we can go ahead and take off again. this way. We got plenty of room to accelerate here in ground effect. There we go. We'll fly over to Cabaletti, see if we can find the aftermath of our little convoy attack. And we can free these guys up so you guys can free fire. Oh, one thing I need to do. Other CTLD radio beacons, F6. This beacon, so it's 480 kilohertz. Retrim this. I'm going to have to switch to another seat and multitask here. Alright, now we got ADF needle is going to point to the fob. So after we drop these guys off, we got to fly to that needle. Jaja? No. So doing this in multiplayer is a little bit different too, because you have this stuff going on concurrently, which is pretty cool. So if you're flying down here with helicopters, there's usually still guys to deal with the door gunners, but it's also cool seeing your friends flying around in jets, blowing stuff up in front of you, seeing tracers and everything flying off. I actually, to be honest, like sometimes I kind of prefer flying helicopters. It's more difficult. I kind of find it more rewarding. Particularly with like the fighter jets. I mean, even though the A-10 doesn't have fly-by-wire, it's pretty much you point in a direction and it does what you want it to. It's pretty forgiving, but helicopters do not hold your hand at all. I think this is the way we gotta go. For those guys that we blew up. Oh, there they are. Go ahead and give them a flyby. A-10s, baby! And use this turn to start slowing us down. The airport. So pretty much anywhere around the airport complex we can drop these guys off, and that counts as being in the aerodrome. So as long as there's ground troops there and we've killed all the infantry here, we can take this, which would then, once these guys are on the ground, it'll get a message that says Caballetti's been captured or neutralized or something, and then players can use this as a starting point. There's other aircraft that spawn here. See if we can land it here. Something. Oh, there's a plane. Where's he at? I think I'm gonna have to kill him. I didn't see where the tracers were going. Oh, there he is. He's taxiing. Get him, boys. Shoot. Actually, I bet the ground troops will attack him too. We land right here. There's us coming out of ETL. Oh, now the bad guy's shooting him good. Get him. And those guys will automatically attack anything that's, oh yeah, so we captured it anyway, even though the plane's down here. Fly over them one more time just to make sure that my guys get them. Shoot! Yeah, there you go. They're engaging. GG, let me get my 50 cal on them. Pilots get out. Well, we captured it, so I'm gonna let them take care of that. We'll head over to the FOB, pick those last guys up, and when I land at Snaki, call it a day. If I land at Snaki, if I crash again, we'll end it there. Aiming at somebody. It's still weird to me, like it's an adjustment. Their airspeed is in kilometers an hour. And they do altitude in meters. I think same thing with their VSI is meters per second. And this is all gibberish, guys. There is, fortunately, when you get the helicopter, there's a choice in the options menu where you can select between Russian or English. So of course, when I first got in here, this looks daunting anyway, but seeing it all with Cyrillic instead of English was kind of a big deal. It's like, that is not going to happen. Even now, some of the things like the rectifiers, I believe those are inverters, and it's just, I don't know if it's a lost in translation thing or... Is that a tracer? flying for that BMP that we killed with the A-10 as well. So he's going back and forth in this across this road in front of us, and one of the guys gets shot down before by that thing, so I'm already having a hard enough time crashing myself without being shot at. BMP might have been a little bit further east that way. Actually, I think that's his right there. Maybe one of the next streams I'll do, see if I can get the guys to get together and do this in multiplayer with the hard version of this, where there's surface-to-air missiles as well. Be a little bit more exciting, I think, to be able to see what I was talking about, having those guys flying around while I'm just doing helicopter stuff. This thing also can carry, like, it has these pylons on the side, it can carry crazy weapons. Grenade launchers, cannons, rockets, and even bombs. I don't think there's an aiming system for the bomb, but it's kind of nuts to think that you can drop bombs from a helicopter. Russians are crazy folk. Should be right up here in this tree line just south of the river. There's like a little village. We're just kind of nestled in there. See if I can do 2 good landings without VRS. Go ahead and start dropping the collective. I'm gonna reset the trim. Down, bud. starts shaking is, when it starts shaking like that, start bringing the collective back in because you're losing that transitional lift. So it's kind of going from airplane mode to helicopter mode. And so now we're out of it, and it's just pure rotor power. So I can go ahead and scoot this guy forward. You also get a pretty big cushion once you get into ground effect with this thing too. It'll like scoop you back up. There we go, one more load. CTLG troops and load standard group. They're on board. And Snaki's just a few miles to the north. I'm not going to retrim it because it's going to be probably about 30 seconds of forward flight before I have to redo it again, so we'll just leave it where it's at. So there's a few infantry guys, hopefully you can mop those up. There are RPG guys down here too. Hopefully those guys are already dead from the Mavericks. So no indicator there. There might be a few infantry guys up here ahead, so let's see if we can clear them out. And since the ground troop guys are already dropped off, let's see how aggressive I can be with landing this one more time. Something is down here keeping us from capturing. Looks like those guys are all dead. Oh yeah, there's a guy still alive right here. Oh shit, that was an RPG.
Отказал второй генератор. Отказал второй генератор. Отказал первый генератор. Отказал
Good hit, bud.
первый генератор.
Shoot him, please.
5. 0. Пожар в отсеке правого двигателя. 5. 0. Пожар в отсеке правого двигателя.
Yeah, the stability augmentation went out when he got us. Oh yeah, smoking pretty good there. Let's man, nice hit with that.
Отказал второй генератор. Отказал второй
Wow, we
генератор.
are. That's a good fire there.
Отказал первый
Come on, bud.
генератор. Отказал
Fire discharge not doing anything.
первый
Oh, we're dead.
генератор. Форт 5.
Well, kudos to that RPG guy. That was a good shot.
Пожар в отсеке главного редуктора. Форт 5. 0. Пожар в отсеке главного
Oh, we captured the base
редуктора.
though.
Форт
That's what's important.
5.
Guys, thanks for hanging out. I'm gonna leave it there. That's good. That's a good spot to end it.
Пожар в
Boys,
отсеке
Gisa, good to see you again. Glitch Gaming, guys, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. We love ya. We'll see you next time.
0.
Peace.